Hello and welcome to our brand new show. I'd like to welcome everybody. My name is Reverend Pamela Maxwell Griffith. You are now watching Tea Time with Mother and Crone, and my co-host is our lovely mother, Reverend Mylinda Whiteley. And she'll be joining us. Hello. Well, this is a brand new show. We're going to be talking about all sorts of stuff. The show is live, so you're going to hear errors and mistakes and all that good stuff that happens on live TV. Our show is going to be a little different than most, and Melinda's going to chime in here at any time and help me out as I flounder. Our subject base will be anything from A to Z.
Yes.
Yes. We're going to have some. We're going to start focusing and highlighting some of our pagans in all different paths and try and get their name out there as best we can. We're also going to focus on witchy stuff for daily living. Believe it or not, you can do witchy stuff every day. We're also going to try and celebrate our holidays and give you some nice little tips and hints for the holidays coming up. In bulk is around the corner, so our witches cabinet today is actually going to have an in bulk craft. And Mylinda can talk about now tea time.
Yes. I have my tea time mug all ready to go. Pam is pouring hers. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, yay. I was having technical difficulties.
Now,
today we have cinnamon.
That's good. I've actually got, mine is an organic green tea with a cinnamon stick that I let sit here with a little bit of local organic honey. I'm in Florida, so ours is local right down here down the street. Comes bottled fresh, so I've got some really good stuff. Mylinda, what have you got in your cup?
I have, so mine is a spiced apple cinnamon tea, organic, and it smells so good. And I'm in Florida as well. We're on opposite ends of the state, and or opposite sides, I should say. I'm on the East Coast, Pam's on the West Coast. But yes, it's so yummy, yummy.
Now, the great thing about cinnamon,
it's so good.
This time of year, it can bring back the best memories. When you smell that cinnamon and clove mixture, it's just too much to handle. But believe it or not, cinnamon has some excellent, excellent health benefits. Cinnamon's loaded with antioxidants, which is kind of good to know as you sprinkle it on your hot chocolate. In a study, it compared that it has activity of 26 spices, and cinnamon wound up being the clear winner out of 26 spices for the amount of antioxidants it has, as well as being considered a superfood. Never knew that. It also has
And I think definitely during this time of year. Yes. I was going to say also during this time of year, I think a lot of people, you know, the cinnamon brooms, the cinnamon pine cones that everybody's putting in their homes. You put the cinnamon in the crock pot with your nutmeg and your star anise, and you get the house smelling all yummy, yummy. It has a lot of really good benefits.
It's anti-inflammatory. So believe it or not, as you get a little bit older, the Crone side speaking, this is a nice tea to settle in with in the afternoon, because by that time you're starting to inflame your joints because you've been up working all morning or moving around. And this is a nice afternoon tea just to get rid of some of the little bit of the anti-inflammatory that you got going on. And it's really, I mean, you can't ask for anything better than that, to be able to enjoy a nice hot cup of tea and have it have health benefits too. It also cuts the risk.
It can also, yeah, I was going to say it can also help lower your blood sugar. So it can help sometimes, you know, with that, and also sometimes blood pressure. So it's really good for a lot of different things.
As we talk about each show, we're going to have a different kind of tea, and we're going to talk about the properties, the healing properties of it. Now, the teas we're talking about can be bought at your local grocery store. You don't have to go, and order $1 million worth of tea. My organic green tea actually came from, where did I get that? They have it. I know that they have some in the Winn-Dixie. That's a popular grocery store here, but Whole Foods and Trader Joe's usually carries a nice selection of organic teas.
Yes. And even like Walmart, yeah, I mean Walmart, Whole Foods, they have Earth Fare, Fresh Market, but anywhere is going to have an organic section that you can find a lot of really good stuff.
And for the herbs, I added mine separately and fresh. You can add them or you can purchase them that are already mixed up. There's several name brands that have them already mixed that you can do, but it's kind of fun when you start playing with your own to make your own herbal teas. Make sure when you buy the herbs are only keepable for a year, and that's if they're properly dried. After that, they tend to get a little moldy, and that's definitely not a go. But if you're really into it, you can stop at the local New Age stores. Just make sure you're asking for edible herbs so that they know they're not for magical, because magical you can keep for a little bit longer. And if not, go to your Whole Food stores or your local organic stores. And a lot of times they'll have the herbs that are grown in your area right there fresh for you. And you can use those as well. Cinnamon comes in the sticks. Everybody loves cinnamon sticks in their hot cocoa, and it's best in apple cider.
Oh, yes, I love apple cider. And speaking of magical and keeping them longer, there are a lot of magical uses for cinnamon as well. Protection is a big one. You can also use it for love. Money drawing is another thing, for abundance. If you do any abundance spells, luck, things like that. There's a ton, not only health benefits, but also magical benefits as well. So it's a really good one to start out with.
And since it's so the new year, a little prosperity wouldn't hurt any of us at the beginning of the year. So
it would not.
No, and I'm telling you, this is a great way to enjoy the afternoon. It's a nice little spot of tea and some good conversation. Now, I was saying we're going to talk about everything. We have, believe it or not, a holiday coming up, and it's coming up really quick. It's Imbolc.
I know.
Or Lammas, Loaf Mass. Still in the Catholic churches in Baltimore, there's one that still celebrates Loaf Mass. You can bring your freshly baked bread in, and the priest will bless them. So that's kind of a tradition that's been held on for centuries. So it's kind of special. Imbolc means in the womb, and usually the sheep are pregnant about now, because you get your fresh spring lamb for Easter, which is this year, the first part of April. Easter has fallen into. So Imbolc has a lot of interesting things. With candle mass, it's candles. To bring back the light. So we need a little bit more light. Now, I'm so, I get light 24/7.
Right.
But this is when we're.
But on the East Coast, it's a little chillier. Right. On the East Coast, it's a little chillier over here. We find out in our conversations.
For Mylinda's freezing out there. I'm in 70 degrees. Gosh. Yeah, I know. Better not say that too loud on screen. Don't want everybody hating the show before we get started. So our focus on, we're talking about cinnamon and protection and health and all that good stuff right now, and prosperity. So how do we use our witchiness in our daily life? Well, you know what? You can use it just in making your little cinnamon tea. Anytime you cook, brew, or in the kitchen, you're making magic. Don't forget that. And remember, it always tastes better with a little extra love added. As you're cooking and brewing, it's nothing different than when you're cooking and brewing over your cauldron to get that spell for prosperity, you're doing it right here in your kitchen. So make yourself a little cup of tea.
Exactly.
Intention. What did you put on the intention when you made your tea this morning or this afternoon? Think of your intention.
Exactly.
A purpose. My intent was having a good
That's exactly right. Yes, that was definitely my intent. A great first show. And yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. It's all about intention. That's ultimately what magic is your intention. When you're doing those spells, when you're saying those prayers, when you're cooking your food, when you're doing, all of those things, it's all about intention. So that's, super important. So absolutely. And Imbolc, going back to Imbolc, it's celebrating the coming of the sun. Spring is coming. It's the halfway point. So it's, things are coming back. You're lighting your fires. You're getting your candles going. Your, babies are starting to be born right around that time. Animal babies.
Mylinda's telling that because her birthday is actually Imbolc. So happy birthday early.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say that, but thank you.
That's why she's birthing the babies over there. Imbolc is an exciting.
No more for me.
You're done, huh? She's waiting on the grandchildren.
I am done. I have 3 beautiful girls.
And that's one of the things we're going to talk about. I raised my children obviously much longer ago, and they were raised pagan. They were given pagan information. 2 of them are pretty much pagan. The other one decided to stay in her faith, and that was really great. At least she found something to believe in, and she's rock solid with it. So we're excited for her. But part of this is raising witches. There's lots of books out there. There's lots of stuff out there. They're here lately. Years ago, there wasn't. So there's a little bit more help out there. But how do you raise your child to be pagan? Part of the problem is if we don't raise our children, somebody else will. So if we don't explain to them what's going on, somebody else will. Now, if you like that somebody else's ideas, that's great. If you don't, then I think we need to start raising our children pagan. Celebrating the holidays with them is a very great way. Children remember the time you spend with them. Doesn't matter what you're doing, as long as it's time with them, they'll remember it. And they remember some of the silliest things. So we provide crafts on the show for the different holidays.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to provide some cooking, because getting in the kitchen and having a house full of people cooking in the kitchen, if you're Italian, that's a given. But it can be pretty special and pretty bonding. Everybody's got memories of making Christmas cookies with their grandmother. I mean, that's almost a universal thing here in America. And the bonding that went along with that, you still remember it. So it's not what the task is, what you're doing, or when you're doing it. It's the fact that you're doing it together. And kids will remember that. And you can make things a lot of fun. We will try to cover the meal.
Exactly.
And then Mylinda's going to try and cover the fun meal. So I'm going to be the Big Mac and she's going to be the Happy Meal. Is that how that's going to work? We will give you recipes.
We're going to figure it out as we go.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be fun. We're going to give you recipes and ideas and fun things to do, as well as the crafts to go along with the kids and the stories behind what we do and why we do it. It's so important to pass on such a rich heritage. No matter what pantheon you walk with, the heritage of the pantheons is awesome, and the heritage of the different holidays. One of the big holidays is the Epiphany, was last week, but it was also the gift of the 3 kings, or Little Christmas as it's celebrated in some countries. With my background, it's Befana, the Italian witch who you hope sweeps your floors on her way out the door. But there were many, many holiday celebrations just here recently around the Epiphany. So if your children celebrates the Epiphany, then explain to them about the three kings and the wonderful magical gifts that they brought and how they got there. The stories and tales of any heritage are extremely important. And unless we retell them, they will never get told again. Most of this stuff is not always written down. It's the stories of our lives.
Exactly.
So a little bit about Imbolc. Melissa, can you like bring us up to what it means and some good stuff about it?
So I'm sorry, there's a lag. I apologize. I don't know if it's on my end or yours.
I don't know. I'm getting the same lag.
Okay. So I'm sorry, were you talking about with the kids or the Imbolc?
Let's talk about Imbolc and a little bit of background. Do you know any of the stories about Imbolc?
So the Imbolc, with Imbolc, usually it's honored with the goddess Bridget or Brigid, or however you want to. There's different ways to pronounce her name. And as I said, it's the halfway point between the winter solstice and the spring equinox. So it's celebrating the returning of spring, the rebirthing of, animals, the crops coming, things. And a lot of times people celebrate with, sometimes they'll have fires, they'll light candles, like for Candlemas and things like that. I actually did an Imbolc ritual last year. I wrote an Imbolc ritual for the temple that we're in, Angela's temple, that I'm a part of, Lady Angela, and here in Jacksonville. And we did like a little meditation where we were putting intentions in these seeds and sort of getting rid of our negativity. And we were releasing those into these seeds and planting them in the pots and giving them to the earth and letting them sort of come to fruition, and with the intentions that we wanted to replace the negativity with. So that was really nice. We had a nice meditation with that, and we made Bridget's cross, which was nice. It took me a little practice because that was honestly the first time that I tried to do that one. Angela was very patient. Thank you. And I think we also did corn dollies for scouts that year. So that was a lot of fun. They enjoyed doing that too. And yeah, it was a lot of fun.
It's a very interesting holiday. It's a pagan holiday, obviously, but it was Christianized by the church as the feast of Saint Bridget. So mostly it was celebrated by the Celts, so that's the Irish, Scots, UK area. And the little Bridget's crosses were made, little corn dollies for Bridget were made, so you could carry them around and ask for blessings. What we celebrate is light coming back. So it's one of the four big festivals that are celebrated on what we call the octs. They're not celebrated at the equinoxes or at the solstices. So these are one of the four Gaelic seasonal festivals, along with Beltane, Loafmas, Lammas, and Samhain. So those are the four holidays that are more Gaelic if you walk the Gaelic path. It is a fun day. It's the beginning of spring. Now you have to remember, spring is not yet coming in most places. So it's still pretty cold out there. So this was not just a please get spring here, but it was a plea to get the sun back to warm up the earth. Okay, whoops. So that's one of our big holidays, and that is November the 1st. So we will be having rituals. Rituals will be all over the internet. So if you get a chance, sign up for one that fits your time frame and go ahead and go to it, because this is the time of year everybody comes out and celebrates. A lot of times the only time you see these are at holidays. But jump on.
Right.
know that there's 3 or 4 temples in the Correllian tradition that have online rituals. So you'll be able to pop on and see that. Starting in February also will be the year of rituals. And it's a year-long ritual for each month for the beginner. They're teaching classes. And we're just letting you know that that's one of the things on Correllian. If you go to the Correllian Hub on Facebook, it's a Facebook page, you can get a lot of information about a lot of the cool stuff that's going on right now.
Oh, yeah. And Pam and Mary are doing the Zoom rituals for beginners, which is going to be so awesome. Reverend Ravenwolf is going to be doing mediumship for a year, I believe. Ed Hubbard is going to be doing Technomage, and Lord Dawn is going to be doing the first degree lessons. It's going to be a lot of exciting stuff, And also the Pagan World directory is coming out, so you can also support that. There's a lot of exciting stuff, a lot coming up this year.
And with everybody still in COVID mode, fortunately for us, the Zooms are still working. So again, if you cannot attend a ritual in person, we get that really big. But it's great to be able to click on and join a ritual with a group of like-minded individuals. And as I said, I know our tradition is all over in rituals.
Oh, yeah. We are good about that.
Yes. And that way it lets you know. And don't forget, you don't have to be Correllian to pop into one of the rituals to sit back and watch and join in.
Not at all.
So don't feel like you're left out if you're not a Correllian. Come on in and join the club. Also, if you look, a lot of different traditions offer on the holidays a little bit of free background. They show you the traditions of different places and how things are done. So this is a great time to start downloading some information from the internet to put in a holiday binder. And I recommend every parent have a holiday binder. It's going to give you a little bit of information on how to talk about the holiday to your children, how to explain it to them. Because remember, they're going to be explaining this to their friends. We know how those explanations can go. They can go very good, or they can go, oh my goodness, that's not even close to what I said. So by having the information handy,
exactly.
Yeah, she can tell you, because they just say the cutest things sometimes. I think they're cute because they're not my kids. If they were my kids, I'd be horrified. But that's what they do.
Right. So speaking of, having the holiday books and asking questions and having binders and things like that, did you want to segue into the second part of the show about raising witchlings?
Sure, let's talk about raising those little darlings. The first thing, you have to decide, what do you believe? What is it that you really
This is true.
believe? Because you can't raise somebody in something that you don't understand. So this is a time when you and your significant other, if you have one, need to sit down and discuss, what do we really believe? After you've made that decision and you've had that discussion, the next is, how are we going to teach our children this? You definitely do not want to take them to a live performance of Beltane. Ellen is going to hell.
Oh, come on. Why not, Pam? Why not? Why would you not want to do that?
Yeah. So
they might be scarred.
Yeah. Or they might be critiquing the show. That would be my kids. You got to know what you believe. You got to start arming yourself with knowledge. Especially if you have one of those whiny little wide childs like I was.
You really do.
And it doesn't hurt to have a lot of different information.
Yeah.
Have your facts straight.
No, because they're gonna ask questions. They're they're kids. That's what they're going to do. And I mean, just like, you know, kids talk when they're in school, they're going to, you know, oh, well, Johnny and Susie said this. What does that mean? What are they talking about? You know, you have to be able to be prepared to answer those questions, and it's important.
You have to decide if this is the path you want to take, how far do you want to go with it. Your children legally, by federal law, can be pulled out on their holidays because those are the holidays they celebrate. Our holidays, like most holidays, are from sundown to sun up rather than from sun up to sun up. So the date of our holiday, the next day you can pull them out of school because they'll be up late celebrating the ritual or whenever the ritual is. You have to remember, if you're going to do that, you got to be consistent, and you have to follow the calendar and how the days show up. Because if you start popping your kids out for this, that, and the other holiday, and they don't exist, you'll get caught real quick.
Right.
Having your children out on those holidays, just like any child from a different faith that misses because of a religious holiday, they get to do the makeup work and all that sort of stuff. It cannot be held against them. You have to make sure that you're willing to follow through. You're willing to ensure that the child does get that little bit of education at your ritual. If you do at-home rituals, that's a great way to walk through the ritual and explain to your children what's going on and how things work. Even when they're young, they can still call a quarter. They can call water.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure
Deanna does that. Well, we have the Scouts. So we do the Crystal Cavaliers, which is the Scouts with the Corellian tradition. And we're trying to get it ramped up again slowly but surely with COVID and everything. But now that we have Zoom, we're going to, you know, try to start working at that again. But yes, I mean, the kids are so involved. You know, my youngest is 4 and she has her hands up calling those quarters very proudly. She loves it. And, you know, I have always, you know, my husband doesn't follow the same path. He's very supportive, but he doesn't follow the path. But we have always said, you know, the kids can follow whatever they choose, whatever feels right for them. You know, they can follow whatever path that they feel led to, when they're old enough to make that decision. And, you know, whatever they want to explore, you know, that's fine if they want to look into this or that. But in what I practice, and my kids are just naturally drawn to that anyway, and seeing what I do, especially being nature-based. I mean, my kids are a bunch of hippies anyway. They love, I literally have pictures of my kids hugging trees and talking to trees. So, I mean, it just fits. So it just makes sense, but they absolutely love it. And, I mean, and it just fits. And if they, you know, decide one day it's not for them, then that's perfectly fine. But as of right now, you know, they're both in Scouts. They love it. They, you know, Haley even has started, you know, reading a lot of books. She has her own crystals. She has there's a young witch's tarot deck that I gifted her since I read. So it kind of made sense to do that. but yeah, I mean, and they have questions, you know, and Haley wears her pentacle earrings to school, and, you know, sometimes we have to deal with that because, you know, we're in the South and friends are like, well, what does that mean? You know, and I have to educate her, and, you know, how are you going to answer that? You know, and she's very, very mature for her age. She's going to be 12 at the end of this month. But, and she knows how to answer, you know, but it's still something that we have to deal with because, you know, not everyone teaches their children to be open-minded, unfortunately, because they're not open-minded. But, you know, and I'm sure you've had to deal with that with your kids as well.
It's a little bit harder.
And yourself. We've all dealt with it at some point or another, I'm sure.
But it's also great if your children can answer the questions that the other children will ask. And most of the time, you can pretty much guess the questions because you've already been asked them by an adult.
Yes.
So usually the simplest answers work the best. Now, shoot,
Yes.
you get on the internet and get all kinds of information where before it was going to the library and getting it. But educate yourself. Learn about those holidays. There's so many things out there to celebrate in our path. And I think that's a really big one. Holidays bring us together as a family. It's also a teaching time when you can teach the children. And, you know, because you have that little bit of time, you carved out that holiday. And however busy your schedule was, you marked out that time. So use it to your advantage. Use it as a teaching tool. In the Corellian times, they do have an apothecary. They do have a section for cooking. And the apothecary has the herb of the month. So that's actually a source. They also do the holidays. So that could be a great source for you to go back on and look at to figure out if you're not sure how the holidays celebrated or what goes on. No one is expected to know everything. I'm learning every day. You can ask the guys. We'll get on a Corellian Casual Friday, and I will ask questions because there's something I don't know. And fortunately, everybody that goes on is willing to share the information they have. So if you don't know it, look it up, call somebody, ask somebody. You're not going to get everything on it from one source. You need to check a couple different sources and learn about the holiday, especially with the kids.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, you know, tying back to what you were saying earlier, that's what's important, is educating yourself as a parent, being on the path and making sure you understand everything, so that ultimately when they come to you with those questions, or if they say, oh, well, I had such and such friend asking me about my pentacle, they'll already have that information to be able to answer them, you know, if you're explaining it to them as well. And she was able to. And, you know, some of them think it's cool. Some of them are like, oh, you know, we've had to deal with a situation before where, you know, they were like, oh, well, my mom said that's bad. And, you know, Haley's like, well, I'm sorry they feel that way, but that's not the case. You know, she knows how to handle her own. But, you know, it's just one of those things. It's sad, but, you know, it happens. But all you can do is just explain, you know, it's not the way that a lot of people say that it is. You know, it's not bad. It's not, we're not evil. You know, we just, so that's definitely the thing, is educate, you know, use different sources, ask questions. And like you said, the Friday nights, everybody has something different to offer, and that's what makes it so awesome.
Friday nights are a blast. You get so much information. Other places to go into, and I really want to push the tents, the green tent, the red tent, and the rainbow tent.
Yes.
Great places for information.
Yes.
We're lucky enough to have good people in the rooms that can answer questions as well as educate you, and you don't know what you're bringing to the table. A lot of times the teacher learns more than the student does. And that's usually the case I found.
Exactly.
So definitely hit on the red tents and the green tents. They're the first Saturday of every month, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The links are established. They're in the Corellian Hub. They're all over. I mean, we, like usually Thursday, Friday, we blast you with the information. And we do, you know, recommend you joining them. However you feel about yourself, that's the tent you attend. So however you identify.
Yes, exactly.
Now, I'm hoping Deej gets his rainbow tent up again soon, because we've had requests for that. The next red and green tent will be Saturday. It's February 6th, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, it's a lot of fun. We talk about everything and anything. And it's a place where you can talk with like-minded individuals over shared experiences. So I highly recommend everybody signing in if you can, for just at least an hour or two. Sometimes it goes on.
Yeah, yeah, we tend to go a little bit long, but that's okay. It's because it's fun. We have fun.
So
but you're definitely not obligated.
I recommend those for anybody, even if you have questions, that you think are silly, bring them in. We'll talk about them. And it's really a great place. It's a safe place to ask the questions.
It really is. Yeah, it definitely is.
We have been talking about all of this going on raising our little witches. So we've got In Bulk coming up and Candlemas. Probably they're going to like Candlemas better than In Bulk, because Candlemas involves setting stuff on fire, lighting candles. So that usually appeals to most children. I love children, don't get me wrong. I know them. Appreciate them for what they are. There are great ways that you can illuminate your In Bulk. Making the luminaires out of the paper bags are awesome. A great way to go.
Yes.
And using the symbols of the holiday to decorate the bags with just makes it that much more understandable. Also, the ritual has, depending on your ritual, you can put something in there for the children to do, some kind of thought process or something they can make. Doing an actual craft in the middle of the ritual is kind of cool, because you're putting all that energy into it. But if you want them to make the craft ahead of time, like a Bridget's cross, and bring it to the ritual and put it up there to get it charged, it's a really great way for a kid to start making their own altar stuff. I really firmly believe
exactly
have their own altars.
Yes.
Mainly. So.
And also it gives them, when they have their own, and when they have their own altars, it also gives them that sense of like independence. They have their, their own personal space that they can go to and draw on that energy. They can make it their own. And, another good thing with that is, like you can go on hikes and trails and things like that. You can catch a lot of, natural things from your walks that you can bring back for your altar. And, Pam, like you can grab those seashells from the beach for your different correspondences and oh, I'm sure.
And the great thing
is, it's really, I definitely recommend it.
When you're doing these fun crafts in the ritual, especially if you're doing them with your kids, it's kind of special time. They'll remember the ritual a whole lot more if they're more involved and if they can take part in it. If you make the Bridget crosses right there, everybody make a Bridget cross in the middle of the ritual. That's what they're going to remember. Oh, the Bridget cross is this, that. Light a bunch of candles, make Bridget crosses. They're going to remember the candles and the Bridget crosses. If you want a daytime
exactly,
make your own candle. Depending on the age of your children, it can be very scary or very fun. But if you're able to, make your own little candle, let them help pick out the color. It can go from helping you to just basically sitting back and watching it. Have them carve on a candle for it to be dressed. Even if they just on a yellow candle, because this is Candlemas, just put dollar signs for money for posterity and let them do that themselves. You don't need anything really sharp, as we all know, to work candle magic. So you just let them carve their little things in there, and boy, you've got a happy camper who's participated in the ritual. Make them feel loved in their sacred path.
Exactly.
The greatest story we have is when we meet, is hugging everybody and just catching up on times and touching, and they need to feel that specialness too about their church, their faith. And if they feel special, they'll act special about it.
Exactly. And for the younger ones, for the real little ones, you know, you can always do those little battery operated candles. Like if you do the luminaries or the jars, and they get a kick out of those just the same. You can dress them. I know Lady Angela had, she just took felt for the little battery operated ones. I think you can even get them from like the dollar store. And just different color felt, the yellow, the green, the blue, the red, and just covered the outside, and just for their altar just had them on, you know, each corner, 4 corners of the altar. And for the real little ones, because for scouts they can start as young as 3, so that's what we did for the younger ones. It's 3 to 18, and they loved it. And so it was a good way to be able to correspond the colors and still kind of teach them, you know, the colors, and they still had their candles, but safety first. So, but they loved it.
I would have never thought of that, but you know, that's a pretty good idea. That really worked.
I know. It was really awesome. Well, you know, leave it to Angela. She's always has those great ideas.
That's an excellent idea for the little guys. That way there is no oopsies, maybe even for us big guys who have lots of oopsies to try. Yeah, I set the occasional robe on fire.
That's because you have those awesome long bell sleeves that you like to have.
Yeah, and
I mean, it is, they are very witchy.
It is very witchy, and it looks really witchy when it's on fire. So, leave it to Pam. You two can be a high priestess. But when you're your little guys, remember to make it fun. Never make it be classroom time. Just remember, the forest is our temple. Take them for a walk. I know up north, y'all got the snow. I came from the north, so I feel how you feel, but I'm in Florida now. So, but an evening walk, it helps everybody. Getting out of the house just to walk around the block. Point different things out. If you can see the stars from where you're at, do a quick star check on your phone to see where everything at, and amaze your children. Oh, that's the North Star.
Oh, yeah.
You know? But
oh, yeah.
I mean, that's it. You got to start teaching them, and what better way than to be in nature? And while you're there,
oh, exactly.
Start the teaching process. It is not that difficult. It's a process that needs to be done. And I think the more that they learn, the more excited they get about learning. And this is a path that they may continue for the rest of their lives. They may not, but at least it's a path that's been explained to them. So we're going to try and do a Bridget's cross. I've been sitting here playing with my little pieces. I did pieces of paper, guys, because let me tell you, straw in Florida is not around that much. I'm finding out. Up north, we have lots of straw this time of year for everything. I'm learning about Florida. Trust me, it's been so much fun. So we're going to try and bring this. You can see my shirt now. Did you notice our shirts? I just have to like put that out there. Okay. We lost the camera. Let's try this. All right. We're going to try it like this. You're going to take a single strip of paper. Okay. Now this can be, they tell you to use straw, to use, let me see if I can push it back up. It doesn't look good. Straw pipe cleaners, straws that you drink out of if you have the paper ones. The plastic ones don't bend and stay bent as long. So that's where you have trouble. Pipe cleaners will do the same thing. You want one piece, you bend the other in half, and it's really simple. Put it on where the other bend is, because you can see there's a bend there. You just cover that. And it's got a piece behind you, just slid that one through. And you just slide this one on the top. And then this one, I open it, goes over this one and behind this, so you get basically a square. And let me see if I can get all these little things. Here we have a square. And this is the beginning of your Bridget's cross. See the little square? And as you add on,
Yeah.
it's not that hard when someone else does it. When done with straw, these are really nice. And of course, then you tie off the ends. But you can do it with paper because sometimes little hands can't handle the straw. So think about the age group you're working with. It might be better to cut construction paper. And if you do that, you can use different colors so you can make a little pattern. So
that would be fun.
And that's a little different that you can do. But sometimes the little hands have a harder time with the little straw. So if you can cut these even thicker for the little guy's hands to use. Their little manual dexterity isn't quite there yet. But then you just continue on, and at the end you tie them all up. You tie the ends, and that's a Bridget's cross. They're very simple. They're kind of fun to make. A lot of times you'll see these also made at Mabon and Samhain, because those are harvest festivals. And we tend to, and sometimes at Lammas you'll have this, but usually you see the wheat, the shafts of wheat at Lammas. So these are kind of cool to make. St. Bridget's feast day is in February. For those that are on the Christian path, that is still a holiday. So that way you can do it. This is my finished one. I've been sitting here playing with this the whole time we've been on. So, you know, you too can do crafts. And what I'd like to do is with some of the crafts, if you guys have a craft for one of the holidays, it's really cool. Please jump into our Facebook page and leave it for us. Or if you want to see us do a craft, I'm limited time-wise. You give us what you want to see.
Or if you have, or if you have a topic that you want us to cover, if you go to, it's Tea Time with Mother and Crone. We're on Facebook. We have a Facebook page. Yes. And shout out to Selena Murdoch, who is the artist of our shirts, who did a fabulous job. Oh my gosh. Yes. We had mugs made and t-shirts made. I mean, she had it in our likeness. I mean, she did way beyond what we expected. I mean,
she caught the personality.
Phenomenal. Like, she's amazing. Yeah, she really did. She got like my undershave, like the whole thing, glasses, like she's amazing. But any topics that you guys are interested in, we're going to have guests on at some point to talk about different topics. So we want to know what you guys want us to cover, because we're excited. It's going to be, you know, we're going to talk about different things. It's going to be fun. We're going to be more laid back and happy and
the subjects we're going to cover are going to be varied. Like I said, from A to Z, nothing is taboo, but we want to try to keep it on a daily basis with you guys. There's no sense in me telling you to take 2 hours and go into meditation when you're a mom, and if you have 2 minutes to pee, it's still interrupted. So we want to make everything that we say.
Hello.
I have extra time because I don't have any little children. Unfortunately, I don't think Mylinda has 30 seconds alone.
No, Fiona's already come in twice since we've been doing this. So if that tells you anything.
This is going to give us a different look on things, because I'm going to tell you some things that maybe, you know, you don't have 2 hours to meditate, or Mylinda can hook you up with a way to make that meditation actually come to real time. We're going to try to keep it as real friendly as we can. You know, so that we're not telling you to do, you know, 4 hours of meditation on a spell when you've got 4 seconds before everything blows up on in your face and just, you know, life hits you.
Right. No. It'll be very practical. You know, like I said, we have children, you know, it's going to be family friendly, but nothing is really off limits. It's going to be fun. It's going to be, you know, we're going to talk about anything and everything witchy and all that jazz. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to have different teas that we're going to cover. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
If you have a favorite tea that you'd like, for us to talk about, let us know. I'm mostly a green tea girl, and I add, different stuff to it. I'll tell you though, first thing in the morning, it's coffee. Sorry. Cannot function.
Yeah. Right.
But if there's
That's okay. That's why this is in the afternoon.
Yes, that's why this is in the afternoon. Anything you guys want to see or hear, give us a holler. Our Facebook page is open. You can go on there. If you know any of us, and hit us on Facebook if you see us about anything you want to see or hear. The fun thing we're going to do is really delve into some of our friends all over the place and see if we can get some different faces on here for you. I know you want to see mine all the time, but yeah, we'll see if we can't get somebody up here a little bit different to bring us all into different ideas. We will have everybody from songwriters to authors to just people in the know to give you some information. So stay with us. It's every Sunday at 3 Eastern Standard Time.
Yes, correct.
And now Mylinda's going to talk about the family side of things. How are we going to do things on your side?
Family side of things, as far as what? I'm sorry.
When we start talking, we're going to get a lot of different questions on how do we make this happen for real in our family. And I think you could probably be our
in
that field.
Yeah, and of course it's going to vary. So the thing is you have to make it your own. I mean, of course, we're going to talk about topics, but it's going to be different for every person, individual. I'm married. I've been married for 14 years. I have 3 daughters, ages 21, 12, and 4, all living under the same roof. And my 21-year-old's about to move out of city here in a couple months. But, so it's not going to be the same for everyone. There might be single parents. There might be, partners that follow the same path. So they'll be included in some of those things. There might be partners that aren't included or don't participate. Like I said, my husband doesn't follow the path, but he still is supportive and does everything that we do as far as family practices. We do Yule as a family. We do a lot of things. He still does all of that so that we still have those family traditions that the kids remember. So there's a lot of different things. And like Pam was saying, cooking, that's a really good family thing to do together. The kids, especially when they're, and every kid personality is going to be different, but I know for my kids, they love cooking. So that's a really good way to do family cooking, especially around the holidays or even just in general. And also a way that you can teach them, the path. They're, teaching them the intention again. And you're also spending that family time together where you're cooking, you're teaching the intention, you're having the family time. And you're also, doing crafts as a family. You're kind of encompassing it all in one. So there's a lot of different things that you can do, family time together. And like I said, it's going to be different dynamics depending on your family, but you can still take the same idea and make it work for your situation. And it's really important, like Pam said earlier, because that's what the kids, are going to remember when they get older is the family time. And, my kids are going to know, hey, we have Yule, and then on Christmas Eve, we go to my German grandparents' house, and then Christmas morning, we go to my other grandparents' house. So, and they'll have those pagan traditions, and they'll have, different family members, celebrate different ways, and that's okay. And like I said, I think ultimately it's important to bring them up with an open mind, because you don't want them, you know, in my opinion, you don't want them being questioned about their faith and path. So you kind of have to teach them to be open-minded so that they're not getting the same, they're not being raised sort of like those that are questioning them, if you would say. But there's lots of different ways to do family stuff. Like I said, even just simple as going on a walk. We take family walks together, and pick up those sticks. Or now there's, like, even in Florida, even though we don't get pretty colors like up north, but every now and then we'll find like a really pretty red leaf or a really pretty orange one, and we get so excited because we're like, oh, it's not green or brown. But even stuff like that, and you just kind of fun. Or like, another really fun thing, my 4-year-old made this at daycare. I'll just share it real quick. It's like a rain stick with like rice and bird seed, and then you teach them about the rain. And then you can even go into the spiritual aspect of it and like, well, what do you do with the rain stick? And you can even make a little ritual out of it, so that's it. There's a ton of stuff. I mean, honestly, you could just go on and on. So
we'd like everybody to make a note that this will be every Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, you'll be able to pick us up on, I don't know how many platforms, I don't even want to say, but I know YouTube has got it, Facebook has got it, and I'm not sure who else has it. If there's something you want to see, something you want to say, or something you'd like to know about, jump on our Facebook page. It's Thyme, Thyme, with Mother and Crone. And you can go ahead and just leave us a message. I get checked all the time, so we make sure that we keep up with what y'all are putting on there.
Yes. And Pam has that on her wall, which I love.
My wall. Family and witchcraft, you can't mix them up too much. There you go. Half the walls, baby pictures.
There you go.
And the other half is on my witchy world. So our hour is up. We want to thank everybody who tuned in today, and who will be tuning in. Remember, it is tea time with Mother and Crone. Give us a shout out. Can't wait to see you all back again. So we're going to say goodbye, and thanks for tuning in.
Thank you. Bye.